The Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome to the Captain's Log Radio, and today the first tackle box tip presented by Icon Coolers. You know, I've been a fishing guide for 10 years, a full-time fishing guide for 10 years, Go Castaway Fishing Charters. I've been fishing since I was 3 years old. I have spent a lot of time on the water. And over the last 10 years, you'd be amazed at the things I have seen and heard from the anglers on my boat. Now, let me say this with that. I'm very thankful for every fishing charter I take. I am taking brand new beginner anglers of young age all the way to older age. Okay. I've also taken hardcore, like single angler where they were just focused. They just wanted to sight fish. Okay. I've taken families. I've taken people who've been fishing for a while, just do it for fun. I've taken people who just want to go out and float on the boat. Yes, that has actually happened. So with all of these years of experience being a full-time guide, again, you can imagine I have seen just about everything. I've heard just about everything. One of the questions that I ask my clients when we get on the boat, or actually before we get on the boat, when they're booking a charter, ask them their experience. If they're bringing, if they've been fishing for a while, you know, do you use a spinning reel or do you use a bait caster? What do you do at home? If they're bringing a child, are they a push button user? Are they a spinning reel user? I want to make sure when I get to the water, number one, that I have the appropriate reel for that client, for that angler. And number two, I don't want to put someone in a situation that they cannot be successful. When you're booking a fishing guide, it's ultimately about, for me at least, as the guide, as the guy on the back of the boat, my job and my goal is to make sure you catch fish. So again, I ask these questions. I want to know what you know about fishing. And I have found out that a lot of people don't have a ton of experience. So today's first tackle box tip, we're going to look at 5 reels, 5 different types of fishing reels. Now, there are a few other reels that I'm not going to mention, mainly because I don't have one. And, and because there's just, I don't use them very often. I'm specifically thinking about an electric reel. I've used an electric reel deep dropping a few times, but it's not, well, I don't own one. Not something I use very often. When I do use one, it's usually with somebody who I'm fishing with, Captain Chris Lemieux or Captain Mark D'Addario. These guys have big boats offshore, bottom fishing, and like super deep dropping, deep water. So I don't do that very often. So I don't have this stuff. But let's go over 5 reels that I want you to know about. I'm sure you already do know about it, but I want to make sure that you know the right name for this particular reel. The first one, I started fishing when I was 3. Bet you can guess it. The Zebco 202. That was my first reel, okay? This is actually not one. This is one I bought for my kids. But this is a push button, also known as a spin cast, okay? So when you are first getting into fishing, this is a great reel to start with. If you have kids and you want to get them into fishing, this is a great reel to start with because it's easy. It's simple. You literally push the button, you make your cast, you let go of the button as you're casting, and you flip the handle, crank it over, and you can start reeling. Very simple. My dad loves these. Okay. He uses these more than he uses a spinning reel anymore. I don't know. I prefer a spinning reel, but this is something he likes. I've caught so many fish on this little reel. When I've had clients catch tarpon, snook, juvenile tarpon, let's be real, redfish, trout, black drum, bull reds on one of these little reels. It can get it done. Okay. Push button, spin cast, reel number 1. Reel number 2, progression. Okay. This reel is a reel that I had when I was a kid. Obviously, I had been fishing for a little while. I loved using this reel walking the beach. I would love throwing plugs with this reel. I remember being a kid throwing a mirror lure, a red and white mirror lure. I can't remember the number, something R. Regardless, it's been a long time since I've thrown one. But I was throwing them for snook on Sanibel Island with my dad, walking the beach, and that's a bait caster. Now, this is the Florida Fishing Products Bahia bait caster. Bait casters are technical, okay? Where the push button has the drag on the front here, this drag system, there's a drag on the side. There's also this tuning spot here where you can adjust the speed of the spool for the lure that you're using. Bass anglers love a push button, not a push button, excuse me, a bait caster. Texas anglers, I know a lot of Texas saltwater anglers who like throwing a bait caster. Me, it's not my first go-to, not my first choice, okay? But in the right scenarios, the right situations, it's a great reel, okay? Like I said, I loved walking the beach throwing a bait caster. It was a lot of fun. When I was like 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, that range, used it a ton, okay? This is a bait caster. Number three, let's go with my favorite, my choice, the spinning reel. The spinning reel is also known as an open face reel. Now, in my entire life, I don't think I've ever heard my dad one time call this an open face. We never call it an open face. But I've talked to people and all they've ever called it was an open face. That's fine. This is a spinning reel. Very simple to use, very easy to use. Like anything, it takes a little bit of practice to figure it out, the timing of releasing your finger when you're making that cast. But this reel, I tell you, I can put this, casting with this, I can put a lure pretty much anywhere I want. The spinning reel comes in a multitude of sizes. Florida Fishing Products has one as a 1,000. They also have one as a 8,000. There are companies that have them in 10 and 12,000, which is massive. Okay. I like using these when I'm offshore, the bigger versions. I remember we were filming an episode um, in Alabama, and there was I'm going to throw this guy under the bus. I don't really care. There was a mate. I don't even remember his name. He told me there's no way I was going to pull up a big fish off the bottom with an 8,000 spinner reel. But we did. It's amazing the technology, the amount of power and drag that these things actually have. Spinner reels. Love these reels. These are my favorite. It's not a problem. These are my favorite for outside of fly fishing because that's a different reel, but these are my favorite. Fly fishing. Let's talk about that. This is a fly reel. My first fly reel was an Orvis bat and kill. I might actually have it right here. Oh, I don't. I don't want to waste time. Orvis bat and kill was my first fly reel. My dad gave it to me for Christmas. He had a Zepco, still has a Zepco fly reel. It was a fly rod, fly reel combo. I've never seen another. But yeah, that's what we learned on. These things are different. Okay. They make them for and lightweights. I think a 3 weight for trout. But I've also seen guys throwing a 15 weight for sailfish off the back. They have a teaser getting dragged behind the boat. They're offshore and they throw a fly at these sailfish and marlin behind the boat. How freaking cool is that, man? These rods are like broomsticks because they're 15 weights, thick rods, got some backbone, or if you're fighting a big fish off the back of a boat that's moving. Pretty awesome stuff. A fly reel. This one's a TFO fly reel. I love fly fishing. Started fly fishing, like I said, my dad gave me that combo when I was a kid. I think I was like 10 or 11. Did that for a little while. Stopped throwing fly. After I graduated college, I started throwing fly in the saltwater and chasing new species just because I caught all these same fish with a spinning rod. I was like, well, let's try something different. Started throwing fly reel. Pretty cool. Last one. This is one I have not used in a long time. Years. But there's a place for it. This is a conventional reel. Okay. This one in particular is called a level line. So as you reel in your line, as you turn that handle, the level line will go back and forth, laying your line down onto your reel flat, evenly. These reels offshore, fishing out in the ocean, bottom fishing, trolling with these reels. This is a different animal. This thing's a beast. And they come in different sizes. But this is a level line conventional reel. So 5 different reels, 5 different applications, 5 different styles of fishing. Some can be intertwined. Thinking about push button, fly, the spinner reel, the bait caster. I can go and catch a bass on all of those reels, except for that conventional. I can catch a redfish on all those reels. I can catch a multitude of fish on all these different reels. Okay? But it's time that we start learning the specifics, terminology, the correct names for these products, so that when you go to make a purchase, when you go to book a fishing charter, and your guide asks you, hey, what kind of fishing reel do you use at home? I have one. I got it at Walmart for $19. No, you have some knowledge so that you can have a better experience out on the water. Which is your favorite? Which one do you use? Drop a comment below, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I want to hear from you. You know how to connect with me on our social media pages at the Captain's Log TV or my email address at thecaptainslogtv@gmail.com. I'll throw it on here so you can see it. But let's talk. What's your favorite of these 5? Do you have all 5? Have you used all 5? And what's your favorite style of fishing to do with one of these reels? Hey, this is Captain Jonathan Moss. This is the Captain's Log Radio. Thanks so much for listening to this first tackle box tip presented by Icon Coolers. Listen, we're going to have a lot of discussions over the next year. 2025 is going to be a great year for us to learn and grow together. I'm going to have a lot of guests on the show talking about things that hopefully I don't know much about, so that I can learn alongside you. As a fishing guide, I am constantly trying to learn so I can provide a better experience on the water for my clients. And the better anglers we are, the smarter anglers we are, the better fishing experiences we're going to have together. So let's do it. Let's learn together. Thanks again for checking in on this episode of the Captain's Log Radio. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.